Okay, so yeah, what I was saying with that was, um, like Elon Musk, Jordan Peterson, um, that other dude, Ben Shapiro, those guys that like are really good at debating. Um, that kind of seems like the place that these questions are coming from. And first off, okay, your interest from this point is probably going to be towards more like Aquarius or 11th house things, and that's kind of the place that they seem like they're coming from. It's where you're learning who to network with in order to get to the position in the world that you're trying to get to. And for this, it's, you really have to look at who are you trying to seem like you have a, position of status with, because you only need, it doesn't take several million people for you to succeed. Like, it depends on how you look at success. You might think this is stupid, but, like, right now my goal is to lift the stick. Success. You know what I'm saying? So you have to realize that it's like once you cross these qualifications or these markers to achieve a goal that you're setting out to do, then that opens the pathway to the next step. And the next step, after you know kind of who you are in the world, then you can start to realize this group. And it may be a very small group, but most likely it is, and most of the time it is. It's only like you and like 4 or 5 other people or something like that. And learning to network with them and let each of you lift each other up and kind of redefine what being more intelligent or status or whatever is amongst yourselves, and then you guys work on yourselves to the point where you don't even need the group and the answers come from within. Like, you have such an understanding of the subject at hand that you meditate on it for a few hours and the answer comes from you, and you don't have to rely on, you don't even have to ask me, you don't have to ask anyone. Like, and to me that's intelligence, when you can solve, I know it sounds insulting, but like, you know what I mean? Like, you're looking at all these typologies and stuff and seeking like there's one type that's like better than another or something, and each person's their own person. Or at least I can't make the assumption that's what you're doing. It's just like, that's kind of these systems, especially the big five and stuff you're talking about, like how much money earned, the way they're set up, that's the way systematically they're designed, is to like make it to where you have to work hard and create this illusion that this status is earned through a lot of work, which it is, especially if you're trying to look like that genius, like that people look at, like the masses look at you and think that you're a genius. But all that work is really just going into that appearance. And the shortcut, the real like genius way to do it, is just allow the influence to take place with your circle. And so, as you're progressing through these levels, you'll see how each of these dimensions, like with the big five, the openness, the neuroticism, so on and so forth, like, it's just a part of, like, you know, if you're moving, like, if you're in an 8th house, you're in a difficult scenario where it seems like a lot of negative things are happening, or people are bringing you into a lot of negativity. Then you're probably going to be less open, because you're probably not going to tell the person that someone's gossiping about, you know, tell them that that other person was gossiping about them. Not saying you, and you could be super open and decide to do it anyway, but then chances are, if you're in that scenario, then you're going to be bringing more negativity on yourself, instead of, unless you're doing it in a way where that person gossip to you, and, you know, so-called, and, you know, you're able to kind of keep your perspective of it in a place where it lifts it up, and then you go to address the other person in a way that resolves it, which would be, ironically, if we're looking at astrology, Capricorn, if we're looking at like what really makes someone seem as if they have achieved a certain level of status, and given the position in the world, is the more they can diplomatically express the different viewpoints of different people's ways of looking at what it means to have a position of status. Yeah, and being able to negotiate and set, you know, fair terms, and then that's how you achieve this position of status that you're looking for with these models. And then beyond that, to know you've got the right network, and, you know, if I'm totally off base with this, you know, like, leave a comment, and, you know, I'm completely okay with making an entirely other video, like, delving into what you may have been trying to go for with it, if this wasn't it, because, yeah, I really just want to answer your question or help you, so, like, yeah, and if you're moving on to the 11th house, you know, you got like a Scorpio there. If you're talking about like obtaining status, like the method about how it works, like the leveling up from, like, because you can keep things peaceful, like you can be aligned with people, but does that mean, you know, can you be nice to some people too long to where you're not really making sure that you're networking with the right groups to really get at the heart of the matter and really expressing the truth and really getting to where you really need to go. And, you know, that's kind of like that next level, where things are going to start coming even easier to you, you know, the things that you're actually wanting. And then beyond that, you know, that will start to come easy to you when you're able to, you know, reflect on your own perspective of the world, and, you know, basically make sure that, you know, your wisdom is in check, your experiences are clear, and your intentions are clear. And, you know, I guess just clear is the best way to put it, because it's hard at this point to say good or bad, but, you know, like, I mean, I'm sure there's things that me and you would agree on are good and bad, but yeah, so, but yeah, and then the more you can kind of get to that 12th house level, the more you're going to really see this intelligence. And then beyond that, you're restarting the cycle back at the first house, which is you looking at your own issues, or the things that you've gone through personally. So you like speaking on your own mountains that you've climbed, own things that you've overcome. And, it's just you refining. It's just basically getting faster and a bit more broad from that point. But as far as actually being able to find the answer, your tools end kind of at the 12th. And it's all just about you being able to receive those answers on your own. So that's my advice for that. But I understand if you want more like detail specifically, more pertaining to the actual systems, but I'm just, I'm looking at the end goal of what's really going to be helpful or beneficial towards what you're really asking. And I can't personally say, well, the thinkers are technically more intelligent than the feelers, and because it's not true. Like, the only way is just how pure, how authentic each person is able to be, and the more authentic they're able to be, the more intelligent they're going to appear, and the more they're going to be able to create. And that's just the facts. Like, and money earned, I guess, that would be like kind of the concept of Uranus. And you could also, it's kind of 11th housey also. I didn't get this until recently, honestly, fully. Like, I got it, but I didn't really understand that. Take what I'm doing right now. You have to start treating what you have to offer like it's a service. And like, I'll level with you here. To be honest with you, if I make a video, like if people are talking about trying to get a lot of views on YouTube, for instance, they make their video and then they just upload it, and then they're like, people will just find it somehow. When the algorithm's made against you, it's designed to refer people that already have a lot of views, a lot of subscribers, things like that, and high video quality. So where you want to start is, for instance, like taking requests, because it's like a guaranteed view. And if I'm posting it in a group, then it's like, all those people are going to see it. So, it kind of gives you a clear view into my method here. And so, yeah. So, and then another thing, I guess another side note with earning money is making sure that you're discovering which kind of people would freely kind of discuss your content, or what you're doing. What kind of people will be likely to talk about it, and not just in a stereotypical or shallow way, but even though you can use those to kind of narrow down the practical application of it, but this is where I would actually advise learning about the details of astrology, and learning what kind of people it is in relation to what you're going for will, on a whim, go out, just going different places, bring up. And this would come from looking at the third house, actually, because you would think look at the second house because that's savings and the amount of money that you're saving. But again, the sign beyond the one that you're looking at is what really helps bring it, make it come about. So, yeah. And ironically, as a Taurus rising, Gemini is my second house. So, I have some kind of, perspective on that. So, so for me, it's like, nurturing people would bring out, the conversations that end up leading to the savings, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, really look at, like, if we're taking the model of like a Capricorn rising here, which is, again, this questions very much sound like, then, or, you know, just from a business point of view, then you would be looking at really probably people that are impulsive would probably talk about your, you know, overall visions, and then that would lead to you creating the networks that you're valuing, because Aquarius is the second house. So, yeah, maybe like people that work out a lot, then that would trickle into, you know, like spiritual people, which then, you know, this, like the Facebook group that, you know, I'm posting this in, and, you know, that you're in with me as well, you know, is a good place to find out what these trends are, you know, and like these networks and where things are going, so that you can know what people are going to be talking about on a whim when it comes to what you're wanting to talk about to create your savings. So yeah, I think that covers it. And if you know, if you feel like there's something more specific, feel free to leave a comment, or, you know, when I post this, post under it like, hey, you know, you kind of hinted on what I was wanting, but like I was kind of wanting to know more specifically about this, and that's totally cool, because I'm kind of feeling that there may have been something I missed. So, but in general, that's just, you know, if I'm really trying to give my perspective of what's really going to accomplish the goal that's trying to be accomplished, it seems like, that's it. So, thank you for watching. Like if you liked it, comment, share if you think someone else will find it useful. Talk to you later.